The following is a Papi Chulo Radio original program. The views and opinions expressed in the commentaries and/or interviews in the following program are solely those of the individuals and are not views of Papi Chulo Radio, its parent, affiliate, or subsidiary companies.
Welcome to Are You Afraid? #AHStories, a PapiChuloRadio.com original series, Papi Chulo Radio, celebrating a decade of podcasting excellence. Today is Monday, August 9th, 2021, and I'm your host, Jeffrey Aruz. During this podcast, we'll be having an in-depth discussion on FX on Hulu's American Horror Stories. Please welcome my co-host, Priscilla Rocha.
Hey, everybody.
Let's jump into our discussion of Season 1, Episode 5, which was titled Baal. Wait, how do they pronounce it? It's just Baal, right? It's not Baal.
Baal, right? Isn't it Baal? Because it's got a little apostrophe.
Okay,
the
that's what I thought. But they sent, I don't know. All right, let me do that again. Let's jump into our discussion of Season 1, Episode 5, which was titled Baal, and aired on... Oh, not and aired. I can't talk. Okay. Let's do that one last time. Before I do anything, you know what I had over the weekend that was delicious from the poke shop that I go to?
What'd you have?
I had a taro shake.
A taro shake? Yeah, taro's good.
Yeah, well, no, I've had it as like a taro just tea, but I had it as a shake with strawberry popping in it, and it was fantastic. It was really, it was almost much more vanilla-y as a shake than it is as just the regular milk tea. Yeah, it was quite delicious. I enjoyed it. I thought of you, because I know you like all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's do this again. In 3, 2, 1. Let's jump into our discussion of Season 1, Episode 5, which was titled Baal, and premiered on August 5th, 2021 via FX on Hulu. Here's the official synopsis of the episode. A wife does the unthinkable for a chance at a successful pregnancy. Short, sweet, simple, straight to the point. Let's talk.
It doesn't get everything, though. It doesn't get the second half of the episode. It just gets the first half.
Oh, it does not get the second half. We will be talking all about the second half. But before we do any of that, let's talk about the theme of the episode. So we've had haunted houses, we've had zombie-like, cannibalistic, manic, primal creatures. We had in the previous one a slasher motif, and this time around we have demons, but not just demons, we also have pregnancy horror, which I'll be honest, I didn't really know was like a thing until maybe a couple years ago when I started seeing people describing certain films as pregnancy horror, and I was like, well, you know what, I guess that is a thing. I mean, you know, what's one of the most iconic pregnancy horror films? Rosemary's Baby, and that's from decades ago. So pregnancy horror has been a thing for a while, even though maybe it didn't necessarily have that kind of definition. So do you like these types of productions, Priscilla? Sort of demons, pregnancy horror, a little bit of gaslighting mixed in to a little bit of horror?
I do. I think they're neat. I think you can do a lot with them. I think you can, between like the baby blues and all the hormones and just the whole confusing time that it is that pregnancy is, and kind of almost, and I hate to say this, but like almost parasite way that the baby grows within you. Like it is kind of like demony, and it works really well within that concept. So yeah.
Yes, I think I just heard Priscilla say all children are demons, so That's how I interpreted what you just said. Maybe that isn't exactly how
I,
you put it, but it was close enough.
ah, I did
Yes.
that.
I will say I do agree with you, even in the spectacular way that you described it. But it is for all those reasons that it is a fascinating horror subgenre because pregnancy is. I mean, there's science to it, so like we understand what's going on, but there's still almost, and maybe it's going to make me sound naive in saying it, but there is something almost magical about it. A being growing inside of a woman. I mean, it's kind of crazy that that's how things work. But I mean, there is science to prove that all that shit happens. But because it's so, it's kind of out of our mind how it all works. Because there is that, there is, sort of like a treasure trove of fears and paranoias that come along with it, especially if you're a new parent, that are chock full of, that can be mined, I should say, for horror productions. And that's exactly what this production does. So let's shift gears and talk about the characters. We've got AHS alum Billie Lourd as Liv, our star. I mean, she really is a star. She's the headliner of the production. We've got Ronan Rubinstein as her husband, Matt. And then we have a treasure trove of minor characters. But there are two leads. What did you think of Liv and Matt, Priscilla?
Ooh, I love them. Although I will say, I thought it was really weird that Billy Lord was playing everything kind of like flat affect, sort of like almost tired. But then I was like, but she's pregnant, and she just had a baby, so of course she's gonna play everything flat affect and tired because she's just tired of everything. She's just had a baby. She's taking care of it and just tired of life itself. Like and she's going through the baby blues. It makes sense. So all of the things that normally I'd be like, why are you playing them that way? Like made complete and total sense.
Yeah, totally. I loved her in this role. She was so captivating to watch. Yeah, I thought she was the star. I mean, we're not at the MVP yet, and you're probably going to go for her, so I already know you're probably going to take her, maybe, as the MVP, so I will just give the kudos now. I thought she was fantastic in the role. She was incredibly captivating to watch. I was sucked into the story. As we've sort of been discussing, this is an anthology series, so every week it's a brand new story that's supposed to be told over the span of, well, like last week, 36 minutes. This week, close to 50 minutes. And I thought she did a really great job in that role. I also liked Matt. Like, I was sucked into him during the first half, or the first, let's say, 60% of the episode. There is a twist, and there's another twist after the twist. This was a twisty episode. Shout out to the clown. But this was a twisty episode. But I was sucked into him. Like, I bought him for the most part, which props to the actor because he sold it for me. Were there any of the sort of side characters that stood out for you, Priscilla?
I thought that the girlfriend, I should say, the 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 receptionist
Bernadette.
did a really good job playing her
Yes.
because she did a good job playing like a warm, like caring person at the very beginning, and I was like, oh, okay, just this really weird person giving you an amulet, but she just really wants you to have a baby. This makes sense. And then later on, when it's revealed that she isn't exactly this new age occultist dream that is trying to get you to contact Baal, and she's actually your Matt's lover, then I'm like, wow, 180, and she played that super well. What's her name? Bernadette?
Bernadette, yes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. She did a really good job with that. I thought that she was really good. And I thought the Asian guy, the one that did the tech,
Mm-hmm.
played the like the acerbic of like not giving a shit about the fact that he was gaslighting a woman really well. Like
Yeah.
all of them seem to like have fun making Liv's life hell, but he seemed to have had a lot of fun making like the videos and making the raccoon
Claw marks and stuff.
uh what's it called? Yeah, that portion of the plot. Like I thought that was pretty good, and he seemed to like have like no heart for it. I was like, damn, this guy really got into his role. He's really good.
Yeah, I like Jake Choi. Like, he was on one of my favorite shows, Single Parents. It was a comedy that launched like 2 or 3 years ago, and unfortunately just ran for 2 seasons. But it's fantastic. I love Single Parents, and he was a highlight in that. And he played a very different character here on American Horror Stories. So that was nice to see the range in him. I really liked Vanessa Williams as Dr. Berger. I thought she was really good and effective in her role. I feel like out of the entire cast, the only two good people in this story are Liv. Well, it depends on what you think about what she did at the end. We'll talk about that in a moment. But Liv and Dr. Berger were like the cinnamon rolls. Like they were the ones that I hoped would stay good to the end, and that I wanted both to be protected from anything bad that happened. Everyone else, well, maybe Norma wasn't bad, the housekeeper, but everyone else seemed to be incredibly nefarious. So let's talk about the nefariousness. So the storyline deals with gaslighting. Matt is trying to drive his wife crazy. So initially it starts off with them, doing all these IVF treatments or trying to get pregnant, or at least Liv really wants to get pregnant. And it seems like Matt is supportive. She inherited a whole lot of money, and he is a struggling actor. And she is given this amulet from Bernadette. It's an amulet of Baal. And one night, after some really intense sex, apparently she gets pregnant, because we pick up 16 months later, and she is suffering from what appears to be postpartum depression. And Matt decides to take that to use that to his advantage to drive her crazy. And it's like, a whole bunch of stuff, from one of his friends actually dressing up as a demon, to another one setting up little electronic devices to you know create like growling noises and the voice of Baal. We also have another one of the friends doing sort of like a smoke machine to make things look extra creepy. A Ouija board is thrown into the mix. And yeah, and all of this, leads to a night where Liv does a banishment spell that doesn't go the way that she thinks it does, because she ends up stabbing her husband, and she gets sent to a mental hospital. So, let's talk about all this. So let's talk about the main storyline with the first twist, when we find out that Matt and his friends are basically behind all of this, and Matt is in a relationship with the receptionist from the IVF facility. When did you suspect things were off, Priscilla? Did you sort of get suckered into the story and realize it until the cars were being shown? Were you at all suspicious at a certain point? This is American Horror Story, so we kind of do expect some supernaturally type of stuff. So were you just buying the story as we were being sort of fed it?
Um, I was buying the story up until they got the Ouija board out, and I was just kind of like, "Oh, come on!" Like, you guys coincidentally want to play the Ouija board, and you guys coincidentally have "He Is Mine" coming out. No, you guys are fucking with her. Like, that's and as soon as one of them said like you have friends like in the business, one of them being like a film lover or something like that, like, or like in tech, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense then, that he got all of his friends involved to help him. So as soon as his friends mentioned that they had jobs in that, and and they played the Ouija board game, that's when I put two and two together, and I figured out that they were fucking with her.
Yeah, same here. Maybe not to the extent that you had, but I thought the Ouija board was incredibly convenient. So I don't know. I don't know if that was the writers making us. I don't know if that was a hint from the writers, like, a one that was like knocking us over the head, or if it was lazy writing. I'm gonna say that it was a hint because there was that other twist at the end. So I think the writers tried to be like, okay, let's let them figure out this twist because we've got that other one coming up. So at the end of the day, I did like it because it made me sort of very suspicious about Matt. I still don't think at that point that I was watching it, because I've seen it twice now, that I was like really that keen on the friends also being involved. But when all of that was revealed, all of it made sense. And I do love that we were able to see via flashbacks exactly how the friends did it all. I thought that was pretty brilliant as well. As far as the second twist, so they celebrate. Liv is in the asylum. She basically tells her husband, I'm going to stay here until Dr. Berger says I'm fine enough to no longer be here. And as they're celebrating, Baal actually shows up, murders the friends, and spares Matt. Matt sort of witnesses Baal doing it, so he knows that it's Baal, and he goes to jail for the murder of his friends in sort of trying to explain the situation. He ends up confessing to everything that he and his friends had done with Liv. The police sort of assume that he killed the friends so that he wouldn't have to pay them. When Liv shows up to visit him at the prison, he's basically like, it was Baal. I saw him. I need some money. Can you hire an expensive attorney to, prove my innocence and this, that, or the other? And she's basically, how dare you? After everything you did to me, you think I'm going to help you? And when she goes home, we learn that, maybe Bernadette didn't know what the hell she was talking about, but the book was real. It was a real spell. It wasn't a banishment spell. It was a summoning spell. And so that night, when the first night, I guess, at in the asylum, she ends up, I guess she stole the page. She snuck it into the asylum, and she did the spell and actually summoned Baal. So, oh, and she also wants Baal to give her a baby before she releases him, which is a whole bunch of. It's part of the American Horror Story kinky sex stuff that it's severely been lacking, but we're getting a whole bunch of it on American Horror Stories. What'd you think of that
And
twist?
is it just me, or did she kind of look like number five from from like
Scream Queens?
yeah, from Scream Queens, when she was like I want another baby. And she just kind of like looked at the camera and I'm just like, oh my God, you look like Chanel.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Did you see this twist coming, Priscilla?
No, I did not. I did not see that twist coming.
Same here. My mind was blown. Like, I loved it. I'm still hella confused, though, because... So she summoned... I guess if you actually think about it, it's a little confusing. Because she summons Baal, but she didn't know that her husband had tricked her. You know what I'm saying? So Baal just ended up killing all those random people. And then it turned... You know what I'm saying? So then he ends up getting pinned for it, and then the truth comes out, but she's still in control of Baal. So that maybe is a little too convoluted, but I still liked it. So, I kind of have to put the convolutedness at the back of my mind because it's still a pretty damn good twist. And the fact that she's going to have sex with him, with it, with, I mean, that's one way
Yeah,
to make a baby.
let's hope it takes human form or something.
I mean, there is always that problem, you know? Good grief. Good grief. Brilliant, though. Brilliantly played by Billy Lord. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yes. So, something that, well, you weren't here last week, Priscilla, but something that Vinny and I chatted about during the Naughty List episode was the fact that the deaths were really gruesome. It was pretty damn awesome. And this time around, we got some gruesome deaths as well with American Horror Stories, with the spinoff. They are amping up the gore, which has been very nice to see. I don't know if it's the difference between streaming and basic cable, but it's been working for me. All of the deaths of the friends, even though some of it was done in the dark, with sort of flashes of light, but some of them are pretty grody and gnarly in a really spectacular, horrific kind of way. Did they work for you?
Didn't they take out like the spine of someone at some point or something like
Yes.
that? Like,
Your friend,
yeah, like
yeah.
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, yeah, your friend,
I
the
like
editor, or the special effects dude, he was the one that got his spine removed.
the one that disappointed me was Bernadette's death. I thought her death was like just like choking was like
Well, it looked
was
like they choked her and cracked her neck. There was like a crack. So,
yeah.
it was a little weak for the fact that she did she was heavily involved in the gaslighting. Like everyone else, they were kind of accessories. They did things, they were part of the plotting and the scheming, and they followed through with their plan. She actually had an active role in it because she was involved, she was speaking to Liv, so her death should have been a little bit more gruesome. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had a heavier role to play. I
I love how you're like, the deaths are getting more gruesome, and I'm like, I want more.
I know, right? It's true. They give us a spoonful and we want a bucket. It is true, though. Yeah. What did you think of the mythos in this episode? Sort of bringing in this demon, how they explained it and that sort of thing, how initially it was this fertility a god, and then it turned into a demon. What did you think of the new mythos that was introduced in this episode?
Well, I thought it was pretty like cool because it's true. Like Baal is a fertility like god in pagan lore, and Christianity turned him into a demon because that's what they did with a lot of pagan gods to switch it on its head for a bit in ye olden times, and to do that to this character, to Baal, and to have it turn into this demon like literally on screen where you see like this little fertility totem turn into this demon was pretty cool. And I thought it was freaking hilarious that the Hispanic the cleaning lady was like, nope, I'm not
No
getting involved
bueno.
with these white people with the demons. I'm fucking leaving. And she was the smartest person there.
She really was. She was like, no bueno. She ran off to live, basically. And I give her props for that. I mean, life is much more important than whatever the hoodoo shit they were dealing with. Ain't that the truth? I thought the episode did a really good job with the creep factor. I thought the soundtrack, the sound effects, the lighting, even some of the jump scares I thought were pretty effective. Like some of them you can kind of, they were a little bit orchestrated, but some of the, like especially the early ones, I thought were really effective. I really enjoyed the atmosphere that they created in this episode. And to be quite honest, it's a bit of an atmosphere that at times is lacking on the mothership. But they were able to really captivate it or capture it in this episode, and they made it captivating. Yeah. What did you think of just the atmosphere and the mood of the episode, Priscilla?
I loved it. I loved the whole, like, I think my favorite part of capturing the atmosphere was when she was going to go check on the baby and she kept looking at the monitor and the monitor kept changing. Like little things like that, like are just they amp up the fear factor of things. And you know yourself that like nothing is there because you're seeing the camera pan on the screen and you're seeing that nothing is next to her. It's just the monitor that's showing that there's a spirit or there's something there that nothing shows up when it's next to her. So there's obviously there's something faulty, there's something wrong. Little did you know that it's uh somebody messing with you, but still like it's cool that little things like that manage to drum up the fear factor all the more.
Yeah, totally. I think something that they used effectively was basically our modern technology, like having her use, I don't know, what was that, like maybe an iPad or was it the baby monitor the first time when she used that as the light to check
Oh no,
on.
she used her phone.
She used her phone the first time because yeah, it was like the blue screen. And then when she went downstairs, she actually used the flashlight on the phone. But the first time when it was just like that, like the phone screen, so it's like that blue light, I thought that was really well done because that light isn't as powerful as like let's say a flashlight, so it kept the lighting incredibly narrow on her. So it amped up the fear because she wasn't she wasn't using a light that spreads over a large area. So I thought that was really well done. It sort of amped up the creepiness.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, Priscilla. Was there anything that I missed? A small little moment or anything that you wanted to chat about before we head into the MVP?
Um I just wanted to mention that like that little totem that they used when it kept changing, it was creepy as hell. I thought the woman that worked on it or the woman that worked whoever worked on it in real life did an excellent job with that little totem because that totem was creepy.
Yeah, I'll co-sign the totem. And I want to give a little bit of love to the opening credits. They were creepy too. I love that each week it's a little bit different. It's in tune with the theme of the episode. And they did a really great job with it this time around. There was a moment when there's some sort of effect in the track and like these eyes open on the screen. And I was like, oh, that was creepy in a good way. Loved it. So now it's
Yeah, the opening scenes are they're really doing a good job with them this season.
totally. So now it's time for the MVP, the most valuable player. State which character impressed you throughout the episode and why. Once a character has been chosen, they cannot be selected again. So choose wisely. Priscilla, who's your MVP and why?
Oh, thank you for letting me go first because it has to be Liv. She carried this episode between her being scared at the very beginning with the baby and wondering whether she's a bad mom and wondering whether and you wondering whether or not the kid is is a demon at the very beginning, and later on figuring out that no, the kid isn't a demon and nothing's wrong with that, but later on figuring out that maybe that somebody's messing with her, and then figuring out later that she can mess with them by releasing a demon to them. Like, everything about that is just so cool, and just boss lady of her at the end to take the reins and to figure things out for herself, and to say, no, I'm not gonna let you take control of my life. I'm gonna figure things out for myself, and I'm gonna have my baby my own way. I'm gonna have another baby, and you're not gonna be a part of this either way. Like, no way, no how here. So wow, Live for sure.
Yeah. She also gets the MVP because she has to have sex with that. So,
That's true. Yes, that's the demon.
yeah. I mean, wasn't really turning it down though. Like he was like, release me until she was like, I need a baby, and then his wings embraced her. So, I mean, there is that. You have the right choice. Yes, Liv is the MVP. Billy Lord was spectacular. I will give an MVP, since I have to. And the other character that I would select, I sort of said it already, but I really enjoyed Vanessa Williams as Dr. Berger. I thought she played the role really well. I thought she was incredibly compassionate. Like I believed her. Like there was a moment when I'm in like the rewatch, I was like, could she have been in on it? Because he did, bring up the card and this, that, and the other. But I was like, no, because he talked about switching out the drugs, and if she had been in on it, she would have given her, the wrong drugs and that sort of thing. And also, she probably would have been there at the celebration. Let's be real. So I'm glad that she wasn't in on it. I'm glad she was just a genuinely concerned doctor, and she played that role really, really well. I like seeing her in horror. I mean, she was in Candyman. She's going to be in the new Candyman that's coming out in a couple weeks. I will not be going into the theaters because the thing that's scarier than Candyman for me is COVID. But I do look forward to seeing that at some point. And she looks great in that from the trailers. So now it's time to rate the episode. How would you rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10 fertility statues? The point system is allowed, and if you found the episode exceptional, deserving of more than a 10, you may grant it the coveted golden fertility statue. Priscilla?
I have to give it a golden fertility statue. I loved it. I thought it had like peak. I thought it had like a little hint of cheekiness to it at the end, where like she's like, I want to have another baby, and like it had humor to it, but still having a little bit of like horror to it, with all of the deaths that were done to Matt and his lover and his college friends, and but you still had a Liv like surviving everything and being a final girl, sort of like it was the epitome of like postpartum, like, winning. It was everything that you want in a series. It's what you wanted in Rosemary's Baby. So yeah, for sure. Golden totem.
Totally. I co-sign with you. Golden fertility statue, fertility totem from me as well. It was a fantastic episode. It's the type of episode that I want on American Horror Stories. This one and Drive-In are my two favorites of the season so far. Both very different, but incredibly entertaining, very rewatchable, chilling, thrilling, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. I thought all of the actors did a really good job. And in particular, Billy Lord was fantastic in this episode. So golden for me as well. Now, the big question that I always like to ask at the end, do we want to see any of these characters or actors again, would we want to see a sequel with Liv maybe in a future season? Or some of the supporting cast that we were introduced that haven't been on either the Mothership or this? Would we want to see any of them? Not their characters, but just the actors again?
Ooh, technically you could totally see Liv again, because considering like her baby is the son of a demon, and the son of a demon like can totally cause like a whole bunch of like wreckage and like bad shit to witches, as we've seen before in the Mothership. So
I agree.
we
Yeah, a
totally,
sequel
we
might be
totally see
interesting.
that.
Yeah, a sequel
But
might be interesting.
Matt and everyone else, not. I don't think we will see them again.
Well, on that note, join us next time for a brand new installment of Are You Afraid? #Age Stories. Here's our announcer to remind you on how you can interact with us.
Follow Poppy Chula Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Poppy Chula Radio. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@poppychularadio.com. Are you interested in joining the Poppy Chula Radio team as an on-air personality? Email talent@poppychularadio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Poppy Chula Radio programs by visiting poppychularadio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through Apple Podcasts and Google Play. Just search for Are You Afraid? AH Stories and subscribe.
Thanks, announcer. My co-hosts, please wish the listeners a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks for
Keep your
tuning in.
totem safe.
Oh, wait, what were you saying?
Keep your totem safe.
Yes. Don't leave them under the bed. That isn't nice. Right?
Well, it's better
Just-
than leaving them in the closet
Well, that is
inside of
true.
tissue paper.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But you don't leave them under the bed for 16 months. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Download new episodes of Are You Afraid? #Age Stories every Tuesday via Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and the Poppy Chula Radio archives. Good night.